Hey guys, Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. I've got a sheath system to show you today. This one is for a FOBOS Tier 1C and FOBOS Tier 1 Mini. This is really cool. I had just bought the knives. Well, I've had the Mini for a little while, but I just got the Tier 1C, and not even a couple days later, I got an email or a Facebook message, I think, from a gentleman named Nathan, and he was asking, or sorry, Benjamin was his name. Benjamin, and he was asking if I could make him a piggyback system for both knives. So, of course, I was excited to do that, and here we are. So the setup that you're looking at here is a little bit altered from the original plan. Ben and I talked about it, and we kind of just had to settle on a couple of the original things that we'd planned to do. That's mostly my fault. As the maker, I feel it's my responsibility to kind of temper your expectations as customers, so if you request something that's not really doable, or if there might be any issues, it's my position that I should have the foresight to know what's going to or not going to work. In this particular instance, there were a couple things that I had never done before and just kind of assumed that I'd be able to make them work, and we're going to go through all that stuff here. So let's get into this. What you're seeing over here is the kind of reject pile, the stuff that we had planned on that ended up not working. He asked me to build the sheaths with seamless liners, or welts as they're called in leatherwork. So this is Kryptek Typhon with a red Kydex welt that goes the full length of both sheaths. The reason he wanted that is because his knives have red liners. These are my knives. My 1C happens to have a red liner. This one doesn't have a liner. But you can see how nicely that matches. So you just wanted something to tie in the red liners on the knives a little bit. I think this works nicely for that purpose. And then he also wanted some accent plates on them. And this is what I had come up with. Just doing straight up leather wasn't going to work because it would be a little bit messy and wouldn't necessarily have the structure it needs to get the shape that we want. So I was going to have this, these plates that just mount directly to the sheath. Well, the problem with the plates is that they actually end up making the sheath really, really wide. And so I kept just one plate on the face of the Mini, just for a little accent piece there. But originally, both sides of both sheets were supposed to have these plates. You can see if the plates were on this, it would be really thick, which, in and of itself isn't an issue. But then you'd have to elevate the Tek-Lok adapter away from the 1C sheath, and that would make the overall profile that much wider. In addition, we've got a couple pivot plates over here that are meant to ride on the 1 Mini and allow the Tek-Lok to pivot on you. That's a really nice feature. The only issue is that then spaces the 1 Mini sheath even further from the Tek-Lok. So the combination of the adapter being further from the 1C sheath and then the Mini sheath being even further from the Tek-Lok, the difference that we're looking at was at least a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch wider than it is already. This is about the lowest profile you can get a piggyback setup when you add a Tek-Lok into the mix and do this Tek-Lok adapter. But I think this is probably the biggest I'd ever want it to go. Any bigger than this, and I personally wouldn't feel comfortable carrying it, so I certainly wouldn't expect a customer to. So I am going to send him this stuff. It's still valuable. It still will work, and if he ever wants to separate the two knives and pare these systems down a little bit, these things can still all be used. So it's not totally without use or function. It just doesn't work in the piggyback system context. So let's get into the actual system here. You already saw the welts. These are really hard to do, guys. It's not something that you can just well, there are a couple different ways to do it. You can cut out the piece of Kydex that you want for the insert and lay it down next to the knife. When you press it, it'll kind of hopefully fuse in between the two layers of the main sheath color, and then you can just drill through them all simultaneously. That runs a couple inherent risks. Number one, you might have drill shavings on the inside and have to rip everything apart just to get them out. and then maybe it won't fuse back together correctly when you sand it down. Another thing is, if you do have that, if you have them in there, when you press it, there's going to be a little indent groove all the way along the cutting edge of your blade, and it just doesn't look very good in my opinion. So how I formed these was I actually formed the sheaths, and then I split the sheaths open and just put the insert in there, drilled it out, cleaned all the drill shavings out, and then riveted it all closed. And it took a little bit of working after the fact to get the space to close up the way it needs to, because you are making it wider, which is an issue. But doing it the way I did it, you still get a beautiful crisp line all the way around for definition on your knife. And then you also get that insert there. The inserts function not only aesthetically, but they also strengthen the whole length of the sheath by making it more rigid, more durable. The carry setups that you're looking at here, we have a Tek-Lok obviously on the back of this, and this is what I call the Tek-Lok clasp dangler. This is an invention of mine from a couple years ago now. It just quickly allows you to open that up and get rid of the dangler and switch to a Tek-Lok only carry. So that's really cool. Typically, I think I believe he said he plans really only to use the dangler for carry, but the advantage of using a Tek-Lok clasp dangler in this particular instance is that it's a really easy way to make your sheath totally ambidextrous, because you can just mount the Tek-Lok to the opposite side of the sheath, and all of a sudden you've got a left-handed dangler instead. So it's a really, really simple, versatile option that you can choose. Down here we have a simple leg strap with a buckle on it. It has got a lot of excess webbing, so you can adjust this to make this very large or very small to suit whatever your needs are. And of course, we've got some red to tie in that color again, kind of tucked in behind the sheath, so it looks really nice back there, I think. And then of course, if you ever decide that you want to throw a sling on this, you already have a D-ring down here and a D-ring up here. You could very easily add a 2-point rifle sling and turn this into a baldric system. So I would highly encourage you, Benjamin, to check that out as a carry method. It's my personal favorite way to carry large or heavy blades. And then the last feature really is the Tek-Lok adapter on this. So we have a new style that I'm working on here of vacuum forming around a Tek-Lok, so it gets a lot more precise, really crisp. And then the other advantage is that the bottom here is not cut out in any way the way I'd normally do it. So as you see it right here, this is, I think, as strong as this design can possibly get. I've also opted to have the Tek-Lok mount to a plate vertically right here through the center line. That way I can have the adapter really gripping onto the front. This might not mean anything to anybody who's not already familiar with the other UTAs that I've built, but if you go back and look at some of my other videos, you'll see them and see the progression of different designs that I've come up with for the UTA, being Universal Tek-Lok Adapter. And you can see that this one is by far the most rugged and strongest one, and has the most coverage over the face of the Tek-Lok, which gives it obviously more strength. How this works going back in, you just kind of have to tilt it a little bit at an angle to make sure both feet start to get into the opening of that. As you can see right there, it's a little bit too wide to just push straight in, so you just kind of have to, well, I guess you can go to the back of it like that, but as long as you get both of the feet of the Tek-Lok in there at all, it's as simple as sliding it in and it's done. There's no chance that that's just going to fall out on you. There's no rattle, no play. It's in there really tight. The only rattle is the straps here that you're hearing. All right, so there's that. Let's check out real quick the fit of both of these knives, and we'll wrap it up. So we have on the 1C a really smooth ballistic one-handed draw. Very happy with how that came out. Nice click going back in. No rattle or play. This is a really nice sheath. Then on the Mini, got a nice little ballistic one-handed draw. Good click going back in. No rattle, no play. So both these came out really nice. I'm super happy with this sheath system, guys. Let me know what you think down below. How do you think? How do you like the modular options that we have on here? Primarily being the Tek-Lok clasp dangler, the universal Tek-Lok adapter, and in my opinion, a little modularity with the 2 D-rings, giving you the option to attach a rifle sling. In my opinion, it is always best to set up sheaths with future options in mind. So baldric carry is just kind of a built-in option. Ambidexterity, I think, is a really important option. You guys know me. I always say this: if you in the future decide you're going to sell your knives, you do have the option of selling the sheath to bolster the value of that sale, and then also having the appeal of being able to offer it to a left-handed user, and they don't have to go find a custom sheath after that fact. That would definitely rope them in a little bit more, I think. So, all right, guys, that's all I get to show you. So let me know what you think of this setup. Let me know what you think of FOBOS knives. These are some seriously incredible knives. If you haven't already checked out FOBOS, I would highly recommend you give them a look. FOBOS stands for For Operators by Operators. These are rugged use, military grade, I would call them, or military, what's the word I'm looking for? Military application in mind with the designs. They're just excellent. So let me know what you think, guys. All right, like, share, comment, subscribe, and stick around for the next one. God bless.